Yes, we're alive! Yes! Howdy fucking doody, people.
Yes, howdy fucking doody.
Howdy fucking doody. Yeah, I look fucking...
Howdy fucking do me.
I look good. Exactly, do me!
Oh, as always, the music playing in the background doesn't belong to us. This is Avatar Black Waltz. If you like it, go check it out.
Disclaimer, people.
Yes, that's all their shit. It's not ours.
Not ours. We have tonight special guest. What is it?
Croaking Demon.
Croaking Demon. Dying Demon.
Dusty!
Dying Demon.
Oh.
What?
Oh, just okay. Send him the shit.
Oh, send the thing?
Yeah. Hi. Oh, there he is. Hello. Oh. Yes. Oh, I can't touch it. Son of a bitch. My hands don't work.
Got you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be your hands.
This is Mr. Fists. That's his new name. Mr. Fists. I am Mr. Umbrella.
Did it go through? Oh, connected.
How's it going?
Ah, there he is!
Howdy fucking doody.
Howdy!
Hey.
Fucking city!
How's it going, man?
Dude.
Man? Yeah, it just Dusty is fine, by the way. I can never make up my mind what my online handle will be anyway, so it's just Dusty.
Okay, Dusty. Croaking Demon is just Dusty.
Dusty.
Just Dusty.
Dusty.
Yeah.
Just like my hoo-ha.
Dusty. How are you, bud? How are you?
Mine too.
Saturday night.
I'm doing great. Yeah, I made fajitas. Couldn't be better.
You made fajitas? What kind? Beef or chicken?
It's fajitas, exactly. Fajitas. You can never lose with fajitas.
It sounds delicious.
Very delicious.
It was.
Oh, you can see my mouth now.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yes, my new face is back. So
Looks awesome. I like it. Did you guys make those
Just
yourselves?
for you. You got it fixed just for you.
well, thanks, they did.
Awesome.
Shut up, you.
Batman here.
He was born with a natural sewing machine attached to his waist. It's a little weird.
Heck yeah.
It's crazy. This is all handmade. Well, not really handmade. I don't even wash my hands.
Oh, I love it.
No hands.
I love it. Yeah, I know. It looks a little slow.
Mom, no hands. No hands. Let's start off with you, man. Let people know your name, their handles, and what you do exactly.
What's your blood type?
All right. Well, my name is Dusty Peterson. I primarily work with heavy metal bands, a lot of heavy metal bands, and do album covers for them, merch, stuff like that, and then a lot of just personal stuff too, whatever I can throw on Instagram that I've done. But I've been doing heavy metal stuff for 13, 14 years at this point.
Very good,
Yeah.
Some good times, yeah.
Got a couple of years under your belt.
Yeah, just a few. Had a lot of great guys, a lot of great bands I worked with along the way. A lot of bad ones, but overall, really good time. Worked depending on how big a metal head you got out there. I worked with 6 Feet Under, Bloodbath, Lamb of God. Let's see here, Evile, Whitechapel, Oceano.
Thy
Yep.
Art is Murder.
So yeah,
You have a list.
Yeah, so that's sick as fuck, dude. That's like, I can't imagine any other sick opportunity to get to work with other bands. And,
well that's the best part, right?
Yeah, it's
I like the bands, and so getting to work with them is like super cool. I work during the day. My bread and butter job is video game art, so I make video games, which is also awesome. But it's still a team effort, and whereas the metal band thing is just a collaboration with a band. So it's super satisfying to be able to. Sometimes I got something that I have to do that they say, hey, we want this exactly, and sometimes they're just like, do whatever you want, make it brutal, and that's super fun too.
It's always better when the artist is just let to do whatever the fuck they want.
I think so personally. The worst ones are where they're like, they got the drummer coming in, the guitarist coming in, the vocalist coming in. They all get their own separate emails. They're all writing you with their own little tidbits they want to throw in there. It's just like, I can't get all these in there. You said you wanted the sky red. You said you wanted the sky blue.
You wanted this. You wanted this. This seems like a pain in the ass.
Somehow we
it all comes out really sick.
Especially the digital art.
Thank you.
That's like, how did that start? I mean, when did the transition happen? When came the digital art?
Well, that was definitely my video game work that kind of led into that. Like, I started in the industry in 2000, working for Treyarch, which now they make Call of Duty, but back then they made baseball games and well, the Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi movie game. I worked on that. And at the point in time that I got hired there, it was a totally different time for the video game industry. They were really having a hard time getting like people to work in that field because there wasn't the qualifications weren't really there for field. Digital art wasn't really as exploded as it is now. And so I basically got a job there on a totally traditional, colored pencil and paint and drawing portfolio, which I have no idea how that happened, but got a job, and then they taught me on the job how to do it.
Right.
Like, which now that would never happen. Now there's like video game colleges that specifically are there to teach you how to learn like 50 different programs and all these different industry techniques and all that kind of stuff. And so people that are getting into the video game industry now, kids, are significantly more qualified for the job than I was when I was a kid getting into the industry. But times have changed.
I know you would fit perfectly in that.
But it's just been like 20 years back.
Gaming industry, your concept arts and all that. I could definitely see you do it. Like, I mean, the shit that comes out of your head. Like, imagine that being so viral, war game and all that shit.
That's fucked up.
I could definitely see that.
Things come out of my head. It's never gonna win. Oh, out of my ass?
Well, I mean, back then it was different. Right. Yeah, I mean, back then, working on like a baseball game, it was like, I don't have an outlet for that. And so, not that I didn't work on cool stuff, but, it still was not really something I could really channel that artwork, making baseball stadiums, even though it was digital art or whatever. And so, I've always done dark art. I've always done monsters and aliens. I mean, any artist whoever does this kind of stuff probably has a story about how they were 11 years old drawing aliens in their notebook or whatever, and that was me too. But at some point, I just realized, oh wow, I'm actually kind of getting good. I'm gonna start writing some bands. See if they're, how does this go? How do they hire people and just email them and stuff like that. Turns out they do. Bands are really, really approachable, like especially metal bands. And if you're trying to write Taylor Swift personally, I'm sure you're not going to get a personal response. But if you're trying to write, 6 Feet Under, probably going to get an actual response.
Thanks for the tip.
Yes, the tips are nice.
Do it, please.
Yes, just the tip.
You should write any band. If you're an artist, that's my advice to everyone out there. If you're an artist, doesn't matter where you see yourself on the totem pole of ability. Dude, you got literally nothing to lose by just writing a band. Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever. Just write them, dude. The worst they can do is not write you back or just say, no, dude,
it's kind
I
of
didn't do it.
when we invite guests. We invite people that are known and have a big following, but like you said, what is the worst they can say is no, and just move on. So
I have it all the time.
Yeah.
You invite anybody who would fit into the show.
yeah, so
If you're talented, you look like you're gonna have fun with us, then fuck, we're gonna say you invite.
A couple of times you've got a couple of responses.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it. I'm already having a blast.
A couple of responses we got back, they were dicks. So we're like, okay, we just left it at that. We didn't respond. All right. Thank you for your fucking moment. Yeah. And again, thank you, man. Thank you for being on. It's
Appreciate it.
An honor from both of us. So thank you again for being here tonight.
I'm honored. No one ever asked me to do this kind of stuff. So this is like super fun.
Yeah, we're popping your cherry. There's a first time for everything.
Totally. Exactly.
It's your first virtual three-way.
And what an awesome time. I never knew it'd be like this.
I never did either. I'm as wet as a slug.
Strangely, I feel no touches.
Strangely, I don't feel anything, but
but I still feel the love. That's important.
Love. Well, we're happy you feel love. Let's see. As COVID affected you, you take commission work, obviously. So has your sales gone up, or anything has happened since last year?
Well, so for me, it's a little different because the working, I work at home now with my day job, and that's new. And that has been awesome because now I get to spend time with my kid and my wife a lot more. But and I don't have to drive in traffic. Awesome. As far as commissions and people calling me about stuff, I don't think it's actually gotten any worse. I'm just not as prolific as I'd like to be because since I'm working a full 8 hours or more during the day, I can only squeeze in so much at night. Whereas some album cover artists, that's their whole job. That's all they do. So that would be someone you'd have to ask that question to someone like that. I would guess though that it would say it probably wouldn't impact it that much because there's still bands out there still wanting to make music. They can't play live, which sucks, and that's affecting everyone in the industry right now. But once they they're still recording, and so they're still wanting art and stuff. So that said, last year I barely did anything for bands, but this year I'm already working on 3 different things at once, and so I'm pretty busy. So I don't know. It must be looking up for some people because I'm working. So
I'm not
good.
surprised. Most artists that we actually have on the show have said it's either gotten better or it hasn't changed. It's still been the same constant flow. There's only been one artist so far, Ben Russell. Remember he said because he usually goes to conventions and he still sells online too, but most of the time most of the sales that he made was for in person, face to face. He got to see their reactions, and it was just so much better that way. So
I feel for him. Back in the day, I haven't done it in a few years, but for a while I was doing the. I'm near Seattle, and so I would do the Emerald City Comic Con every year. And I mean, that wore me out every damn weekend. I mean, I can't imagine being that life where you're always going to those kind of conventions. But if that's your thing, yeah, man. I can't imagine losing that because there's a big difference. I have a print shop online. I barely sell any prints because I don't like print at all. I could, but I don't. And I'm kind of an idiot with social media in general. So. I'll sell a couple prints a month at most. Maybe more accurately a print or so every 6 months. But something like that. Oh yeah, I bet that really really hurts when they can't talk to the people, shake hands. You make a connection with an artist when you go to those conventions and you make a connection and. That handshake. Sometimes I've had people buy stuff from me just because they like talking to me. They're like, I'm not even really into the dark art that much, but it's nice. So here's the thing. Sweet.
Because I mean, it affected us as artists too. For sure, me and I haven't sold one piece since it's been over a year. Usually, that I sold something. I haven't been selling anything recently either. I've had inquiries, but that's about it. As soon as I tell them, they ask me, how much would you charge for this, how much would you charge for this, I tell them I got, cheap tattoo prices, so it depends. It depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Color, black,
Right,
gray,
always.
it's completely up to you, and I'll just charge you according to that. And most people say yes, others like, oh, okay, and then that's the last time I ever heard. Yeah, people.
Everyone gets that, man.
So fucking.
I get that. Everyone gets that. At least they're not being like actively ignorant to you. At least they're not being like all like, "Ooh, I love your art, man. How much is it?" And you're like, you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, you suck."
I've actually got that.
Like, you're the one that asked.
Yeah, I've got people tell me like, yeah, man, that's too much for that. Even though it's like fucking $7 for like a fucking for like a little pin. It's just like, dude, it's cheap. What the fuck? Like, oh, you should sell that for like fucking $4. Dang, it's not that expensive. Fuck you.
Dude, maybe you shouldn't be in the collectible biz, you know? Maybe you shouldn't be buying stuff. Maybe you should worry about getting some rice and beans on the table if you can't drop $7 on a pin, dude. Like, the sob stories, man.
Do you remember that dude Mark? Oh, yeah. That's too much. Like, what the fuck, for me, now I haven't moved shit, but you know, since we're doing this, we thought, fuck it, we're artists and we can design our own shit, so we contribute our art or whatever we can for the podcast. So, like this, for instance, the Dead on Laughing, it was drawn by him. He got it cleaned up and
nice.
this giant ass flag behind us. It's all fucking wall cover.
That's what you do, man.
What happened?
That's what Guar did. They were a bunch of art students, man. They were a bunch of art students making foam monsters in their shop and shit, and they're like, fuck it, let's just make an awesome band, you know, with the coolest stage show ever. So,
well, that's what we thought.
at least that's what I heard. Maybe it's bullshit. I don't know. That's what I always heard.
Yeah. Well, that's what we thought. We thought, fuck it, we're just gonna invest and put our energy and art towards the show. And there have been artists that, like Chris Nelson, he designed all of us. It was funny too. It was on the flyer. Yeah, it's on the flyer. The flyer that we made, that's his digital art. Yeah, pencil artist.
Oh, cool.
He does some really good work. He worked with Cafe Coffee. I think it's AC's like.
Okay.
They worked for it. He worked with him for it. They did a whole Night of the Living Dead like a poster, and they had it set up for the coffee bag.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really sick. I got two. I can get more. It's like really good coffee too. So. Have you ever been to California?
Excellent. Oh yeah, I actually lived in California for 3 years. I lived in LA, well, more specifically Torrance. But even for a little while, I lived with all fancy with my mom and her husband in Santa Monica. And that was kind of cool. I lived there for about 6 months, but then I moved to Torrance, and then we were like, you know, right next to Hawthorne and Lawndale and shit. So it was quite a different change there. But I liked it when I was down there, except for the traffic. The traffic was absolutely fucking balls, but everything and the heat.
Oh yeah, firsthand. LA from here is about an hour, but one day we went to go pick up some molding supplies. Coming back, we spent 7 hours coming back. When it should have taken at least an hour or hour and a half.
See, it wouldn't be so bad if it was like people were chill. Yeah. No one's chill down there. They're dicks. And it's like, I think it's because it's hot. Because it's so hot when you're hot. My air conditioning went out. And I'm just like, I have my arm out the window. I'm sweating. I'm hot. And then they're just like, oh, this guy wants in, huh? Oh, this guy. You know, and so then they get super mad about stuff. And that's why I couldn't handle it.
It's not like dry heat either. It gets sticky. He knows. I mean, I get so frustrated because people are either right in my ass or they want to race me or they want to do something stupid. So I try to get away as much as possible. But dickheads just want to, like, test me, and that, you know, results in me doing stupid shit. So I'll be laughing the whole time.
Oh man, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Road rage is serious.
Yeah, it's fucking real out here, dude. It's insane. It's like you have to get mad.
Dude, a year ago, I got literally almost rammed off the road because of a road rager. Like seriously, like they were behind me and they're like honk honk honk. I'm like, dude, I can't go anywhere. There are cars in front of me and all this shit. And like, you know, so I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna slow way the fuck down so that maybe he'll just go around me and shit. And I guess he took that as an aggressive maneuver. I think he probably thought I brake checked him, which I didn't do on purpose, but that's how he saw it. And so he whips around me, and dude, he rammed the side of my car, the right side of my car. Wham! It was insane. And I got him though. I got him. He tried to hit and run me, but I got him. Dash cam, baby. So I got all the.
Last concept said, Dylan Laughing's audio is coming through on the stream a little loud, Jets. Just a heads up.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just talk soft.
Wait, are we loud? Are we being loud?
We're loud.
We're loud.
It's not you. We're loud. We're coming through our speakers and they can hear it like reverberating back into it.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
So whisper a little bit. Just to get really close in there and like make it tickle your fuzzies.
Hey, it's not a gun. I'm just really tall behind you.
Yeah, like I said, this is my first time doing this, so if I'm doing it wrong or something and causing the audio to be messed up.
It's okay. This is mostly our first time doing this shit too.
The people we interview, it's the same thing. Every time they don't experience an interview, so that's why they kind of agree to do it. That's what it's there for you to do. Try it out and have fun.
I give you a brew, you haven't opened it.
I don't have a fucking bottle opener. That's why. You're jerking it and nothing happened.
You go to the tip part, it's supposed to pop on
Oh, it's dry. You my dirty bastard.
Yes, dirty bastard.
But,
Oh, I've had that before. That's good stuff.
So besides band covers and video games, what other projects did you do in the past?
Well, that does pretty much cover it. But my problem is I get a lot of big ideas. I start something. I'm gonna go crazy all about this, and then I release one thing, and I don't really complete it. It's like I got way more ideas than I have motivation to complete the ideas. So I did a homemade book several years ago that I just printed up on Blurb, so definitely not an official publication of any kind, but I did a book a couple years ago, and that I thought it turned out really good, but unfortunately the problem I found with making a book is that it's really stupid expensive.
Yeah.
Like as far as like printing it up for people to buy. No one wants to buy a book that's like it's thin, almost like just slightly thicker than a comic book for like $40. So you have to make it like you either have to mass print the hell out of them, or which I couldn't afford, and that's why people do Kickstarter and stuff like that. Or you have to basically strip all the good out of it, with as far as like color or shiny paper or anything like that. And so, but it turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. That was the last time I think I just set my mind. I'm going to make a product. I'm really terrible at making products to sell people. I'm really good at selling myself as a service, but not so good at putting something in a package for people to buy. That's where I tend to lose.
So you're good at selling yourself, but not your products. Okay. It's okay. I understand. I'm the same way.
Yeah, well, standing on the corners in Seattle wasn't working for me, so I had to, do something else.
Yeah, we had one of our guests read a comic book. It's really fucking sick. Mark knows what
Yeah, Mark knows. We're actually gonna have him back on too.
Yeah, look at it. Yeah, he made a comic book in
Gold Sin. It's really interesting.
oh, you don't have it.
I believe I.
Give me one second here. Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah,
You gotta see my ass.
It's so crazy how official it looks like. Yeah. It's just crazy how good it is, and the way it's laid out, and just everything. The art, it's insane itself.
It's his own style, so when you see it, you know it's his.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it a self-publication, or did he have a... Oh, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's really sick.
Hey, he signed it too. Well, the
Did he use his third leg to sign it?
Yes, he used his third leg.
It's a lot of work to make a comic, man. I used to want to be a comic book artist when I was a teen, and that wasn't happening. That was not happening.
It's a lot of work. I mean, I even started writing one. I did all the panels for the first one. I think it's like what, 30? He has to color it. It's been sitting there.
But I've gone one way days back. So I make time for my art.
That's good. You gotta make time for your art, man.
That's what I had to tell my dad. I have to make time for my art. So that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, sorry, John.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what's fucking speaking of artists and shit. I seen something recently. Somebody else posted something. It was Nick something. But fuck the name. What they posted was like the top essential and non-essential jobs. The top non-essential jobs.
Okay.
What 86% agree about were artists.
I remember seeing something in like Newsweek or something that said the opposite too. It was like we are not essential and all that shit. But people took it the wrong way. I think they were just saying as far as like, getting through a survival situation. But in general, art is the most essential. Yeah. You wouldn't have anything around you if it wasn't for some artist somewhere. Yeah. So someone had to design your couch. Someone had to design your tools. Your screwdriver. I mean, someone had to design everything.
Dildo. I mean, that's important.
Well, that's ergonomics.
Someone sculpted that.
That's ergonomics, man. It's got to be right for lots of people. You can't just have it one way.
Somebody's taking the time out of their day to sculpt it perfectly for your pleasure. I thought you were going to go.
Yeah, well, and then there's the ones that are like orca penises.
Oh,
like
God.
Someone made that. It's like I saw a whole website. Yes, I looked for this. I've looked on the web before for these things. Like I want to know what's out there, man. Like they got all kinds of animal dildos and everything. Like it's unreal. And I always think of the sculptor. I think of the sculptor making it, casting it. Like their work went into making this product.
Yeah. So
should we say it?
Fuck it. It's still under wraps.
Are you guys getting baby Jesus butt plug?
Well, there is a piece that we did where a girl is, Jane Buck herself. And it's a big black one that says "Dead laughing." And yeah, we're trying to make that one. Looks like a pig inverted cross. It's gonna have his face on the tip.
That's awesome. The further you can push art, the better, as far as I'm concerned. That's what art's for, man. Like, I can't stand people that get the bad shape about like offensive art. Like, man, like, are they doing it in real life? No. Like so it's like you got to do that, man. You got to get it out of the system.
Well, we're gonna make it so that way, male, female, they can push it as deep as they can.
There you go. Do it.
Go ahead. Just say it.
So we're a question. So what are your top three horror? Could be horror slasher or horror sci-fi. Top three.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm a big fan of just that late 70s, early 80s Italian horror. So number one would definitely be The Beyond. Like I love that movie more than anything in the world. Like it captures that nightmare logic just completely, and the effects are exactly the way I want my horror to be. Like I don't want digital gore, man. I don't want computer. I mean, I'm a digital artist myself, but I'm still saying if someone's gonna make blood, then you dump buckets of blood on something. If someone's gonna like do an acid scene, you need to take some model, some mannequin or model or something, and dump something that deteriorates that mask in real time. You know, it's got to be physical. You know, and I love that. That's what I love about the Beyond. Is it's just so nasty, so nasty.
Real.
And yeah, it just felt so real. Except for the spiders in that movie. Obviously, the spiders are absolutely terrible in that movie, but that's like 81. You know, I mean, who cares? Second, oh man,
Take your time. No
hard.
rush.
Well, I mean, all right. Well, this one might surprise some people, but I love Event Horizon so much.
Horizon?
I've got, I loved it, man. Like when it came out, I was working at the movie theater in downtown Seattle, and our projection manager was like, "Hey, I'm reeling up this new movie. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, he's like, you want to come watch it?" And I had to go to school the next day, and I was like, "Fuck it! Like that sounds great." I didn't even know what this movie was about. I knew it was a spaceship in space kind of thing. And that sounds great. And just something about watching that movie sitting at like 18, 19 years old or something like that, in a pitch black theater, no one else in it but me at 1 a.m. it was actually terrifying. I was totally scared by that movie. I mean, now I've seen it like 100 times, so not so much, but like back then, man, that was very much an awesome horror movie. It was really
what
scary.
tripped me out was the.
And then, oh yeah, I know the scenes from the planet or it was from the ship, but you know, like all that chaos or whatever
They're
oozing in from
they were
that.
like fucking each other, killing each other, they were like eating each other, they were like almost like some Dead Space type of shit. Like
Something like that comic book.
Yeah, Dead Space before Dead
yeah,
Space.
before
Yeah.
Dead Space, and
Dude,
when I saw that scene, I didn't expect it at all. I expected like an alien or something crazy, but I didn't know that was gonna pop up, and it just blew me away. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like Hellraiser in space. I mean, only they don't really ever show you a lot of the stuff. They leave it up to your mind, but that's kind of almost works in its favor. You know, it's like they show these quick like scenes, and dude, that's the best way. Although I love totally gratuitous gore, obviously, but like when it's done like that,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
See, for my third, I mean, I feel like I just can't have a top three unless The Thing is getting put in there. It's like that's just the pinnacle of horror for me. You can't. Nothing can touch that movie. It's the original. Well, not the '50s one. The John Carpenter's. You know, you just can't touch it. I mean, it's the effects are so solid. They still hold up, like whatever it is, 35 years later. However long it's been. And the creature design is basically what I based my entire philosophy on creating monsters over. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan, but I didn't really even like read Lovecraft until way later. It was more me being inspired by other people who were inspired by Lovecraft, you know. And so I can't really give actual Lovecraft credit for my inspiration. I can only give credit for things like The Thing, where those monsters are just twisted. They're just twisted. They're so cool. There's tendrils and stuff going everywhere, weird spider crab legs coming out. The transformation aspect of it was so cool. And of course, the tension is just out of this world. So.
Yeah, the fact that they put different anatomies of animals together and they made it work. Even with human anatomy, they made it work. Those ideas is just, I know it scares the fuck out of people, but it's genius. It's really a genius thing to do. You're able to do it and make it work. I really love the thing.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, that effects artist like stopped working in the industry, and like I think Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was the last thing he worked on, and that's just such a tragedy in my opinion. He's just Rob Bottin. He's just such an amazing effects artist. I mean, he also did the Duracell battery guys. If you remember that from the 90s, those Duracell commercials. Same guy made that stuff too. It's just like, I mean, what range, you know? That's a lot of range to be able to make Duracell plastic battery guy and the most horrible monsters.
So he did so they did the thing, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Are you talking the reptile orgy? That shit?
Yeah.
That's some sick shit. And then Duracell, wow, that is one hell of a range.
You should draw a Duracell like thing type of thing going on. Like, board type of thing with that.
I don't have the range.
You don't gotta be inside it.
Yeah, inside it. That was sick. Yeah. That's great. That's fucking crazy. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I used to want to be in practical effects when I was going to school. This is before the video game thing kind of happened, once I realized that the ladder to get into that field was pretty excruciating, I kind of dropped out of it. But yeah, if you ever watch like Face Off on Sci-Fi Channel, like that's the kind of stuff that I wanted to do when I was a wee lad. So I definitely read up on a lot of that kind of stuff.
There was a point in my life where I wanted to work with video games, but honestly, it didn't happen. But
For you, it makes some weird sense. Yeah. He sells himself short a lot. His artwork is fucking tripping.
like recently, I did Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if it
Yeah, I want to see it. Bring it out.
I don't think he brought it. He has it on his phone.
It's on my art page.
Oh, okay.
It's on his OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, guys. Link to my art page.
It's right next to his yoga poses. It's something really cute.
Man, can't be teasing them like that.
Oh, you gotta tease the please. That's all you can do.
So I did this Roger. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see it. Nice.
Yeah, it's all blurry.
Bloody. Love it. It is a little blurry, but I can get the gist.
But then I did the. Maybe that word.
Oh, I can see that one pretty clearly. Oh, that looks really good.
It's still blurry. God damn it.
What's that made of?
But yeah.
He did it on a slap.
Yeah, it's on a posted slab.
USPS sticker.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Dude, I think you would be perfect for mastering as well. If you're a dog kid,
Well, absolutely. I mean, I went to school for industrial design technology, and part of that was learning how to do. There was courses for at the time. Like I said, I wanted to get into the effects industry, but I didn't know the path. This was 1997, so yeah, I'm old, and it was like. I mean, you read the magazine, Cinefex magazine or Fangoria or whatever, like, oh my God, I want to do this. How do I do this? And then, you're looking at all these schools, these art schools, and you're trying to find the closest thing that kind of matches it. And so I ended up in industrial design. And so I've absolutely made masks before. I want to make more masks again. I have I don't have a shop. I need a shop environment, which I don't have right now. I once COVID thing ends, I might try and look into rent. I know you can just kind of like there's these community kind of shops you can pay a monthly fee and use whenever you want or whatever. That might be something I might try. But yeah, but it was something I wanted to do for a while again because I basically haven't made masks or done any kind of like mold making or casting in like 20 years. So I mean, it's been a long time. Definitely.
For us, most of our guests are usually matchmakers.
Most of them work.
Matchmakers, props, people that have worked in the movie industry.
Straight left. Like I actually brought up about the audio coming in that way. He actually is a matchmaker. Really good too. Really good.
Oh, hell yeah.
We also had guests underlined that worked on the new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That trailer is awesome.
He was letting us know that anything about it. He just brought it up like a little bit like, oh yeah, well I I also did work on the new Long Time Ago movie that's coming out. Little shit like that.
Nice.
And we were just waiting for it, seeing his work, still doing it. He's a musician as well. And hearing his music and still waiting for somebody work. And finally came out, like, oh shit.
Oh, we're slipping, sliding,
Yeah,
we're
man.
all over the place.
That's like one of those kind of dream job things, man. That's cool.
But yeah, he worked on the Sub-Zero mask. That's his design.
Yeah.
That's like the coolest part of the trailer is Sub-Zero. I mean, that mask design or appliance looks awesome. The effects where he's changing, Jax's arms into icy,
Oh, spoiler alert, guys.
whatever
If
block.
you talk about something you haven't seen in the protocol, we apologize, but
Sorry, don't
Oh,
care, don't watch it.
yeah. Sorry, I always figured trailers are fair game. I never talk about like, hey, did you see on WandaVision last night? I'm not gonna do that, but like, I always figured trailers.
I don't give a shit.
the Jack scene, though, definitely, I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't know that looks.
I love how it does.
When he held that, hey, if anybody hasn't seen it, go see it. Go see what the fuck I'm talking about. When he held the shotgun, he throws it in mid-fire. Holy shit, you just see the shards. Oh, fuck, he busts it. And that was it. Oh, fuck.
It looks like the old one's only better. It looks like the old one actually gives shit about the fatalities and stuff. Like, I didn't see. Is it rated R? It's rated R.
Oh, yeah, hell, it's got
Valid.
I seen, well, there's a regular trailer. I seen the Red Man trailer. Yeah. It's a rated R trailer. So they say fuck. And so all of it is all fuck.
Oh man, hell yeah! Well, I mean, even the ice arm thing is still pretty brutal. I mean, you can see the red like going up the arm and shit. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, how it froze. Just, you see like the little shadow happening and all the blood going through the ice. And finally, oh shit!
He's got to be old school. They got to rip someone's skull up with the spine in this movie. Gotta happen. It's gotta happen at some
They
point.
remade Goro. You see that, right?
Yeah, I see that. Big motherfucker.
They remade Goro.
Moral of it. Anything's
Another thing that I noticed
an improvement over anything.
the sketches and all that, dude, I really like when I see digital artist people, I like seeing their rough sketches. I like to see how they do it or how
process.
Yeah, the thought process. And I saw that on your page a lot. The whole thing is just it's nice. It's nice to see rough sketches. So,
Thank you, and that helps me because I need to do more of that on my Instagram too. I don't think I'm as active on Instagram because I'm always feeling like I need to put some kind of like finished piece on there, but it takes a long time to make a finished piece. And so yeah, I need to bridge the gap with some more like sketch stuff. And since it's cool that you like that because that helps me feel confident in putting that kind of stuff.
Whatever.
On
We were told by one of our guests. And he's a really good friend. He's a Halo. He's a very sick artist. But he told us, well, if you have anything in the process, just like show like little sneak peeks. Alright, so we started doing that.
People love to see us artists in the zone, how we draw. Like, the videos I've been making where I do the whole drawing. People love them.
Yeah.
TikToks.
But people are, they get.
Yeah, that's something I'm real bad about right now. I gotta join the current stuff. I need to get in on the reels and the TikToks and all that stuff, but I haven't really gotten a whole lot into it. But I think that's a good opportunity to show some of the process type stuff. I don't have the energy to do a Twitch channel. I tried a Twitch channel a couple years ago, and I didn't have the energy for that. But I think just doing little little reels or whatever of sketch stuff. I think
Yeah,
would be
because anything,
really fun to do.
even like sneak peeks or anything that it's the process of the finished piece. People love seeing that still.
Well, sometimes I can't. Like if it's for personal art, I can do whatever I want, obviously. But if it's for a band, I can't really show any of that stuff. You know, all that stuff. You have to wait for the band to post it on, like, the finished thing on their social media, and then after that, I suppose you could post some early sketches or work in progress, like when I was doing it, which I don't do much of most of the time because my work in progress stuff looks terrible until it looks awful. Yeah.
What was the worst difficult commission you ever had? If you ever had one?
Oh, that's easy. Well, that's easy. That actually happened. A couple years ago, and they still haven't released the artwork. They still have. He was a Russian small label owner, and I think when I say small label owner, I think I basically mean a guy who is pretending like he has a label. Anyway, he wanted to re-release a band's album, and he wanted fresh new art. This was like a deathcore album that came out like 15 years ago, and he was like apparently his favorite album of all time. And he wanted to get a fresh new coat of paint on it, and commission someone to make a new artwork for it. And it sounded like a damn dream job. He was like, "I'm going to pay you X amount." It was above my normal rate. I was like, "Awesome." And you can do whatever you want. The only thing is it has to be like dark art, like Zdzislaw Beksinski kind of, like, what's the word? Dark surrealism, that kind of thing. I'm like, it sounds amazing. This is something I can do for you. And he paid all up front, which never happens. Usually, you do the 50% down, 50% when it's over, and that's great. And I realize, and you'll realize when I'm finished with my story, that 100% down is actually kind of terrible, because it kind of turns you into a slave for whatever their demands are. If you just do 50% down, 50% later, I have an ability to walk if it's turning into a horrible experience, because that 50% down is just, this is like my time. You don't get this back. This isn't like a refund thing. But when it get to 100% down, it was like, okay, he's paid me. I've literally spent it at this point, and because we're not millionaires over here, guys.
Yeah.
It's like I paid bills, and so anyway, it was awful because he was so super cheery and so supportive while we were talking originally. Once I finished a draft, which I was super happy with, it definitely was not above peak, but it was it was solid. And he comes back at me out of nowhere. It was like Two-Face, man. It was like, "Oh, I love you. Oh, you're so great. Oh, great. Cheers, puppy gifts, everything." And then as soon as I turned to him, he was like, "I'm sorry, but this is shit. We are not going to be able to meet our deadline now. We are now going back to 3 months ago when we started this. Like, this is terrible." And I was like, whoa, okay, calm down here, man. It doesn't mean we have to go to the drawing board. Give me the feedback that you don't like about it, and you've paid me. I will fix it. That's how it works. Okay. And it turned into him with his entire arm up my ass like a ventriloquist would be.
Are you happy with this?
No.
You used a brush. Yeah, real. It was like, you used a new brush on this spot. I don't like this brush that you used, like a digital Photoshop brush. Like, don't use that brush. I need you to copy this part from over here and put it over here. I'm like, dude, I don't work like this, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is not working for me. Like, I kept doing these revisions because I was hoping that each revision would be the last thing that I would have to do with this guy. And it was like, surely this will be enough. And every single time I would actually change something, and he would come back at me with a version from like 3 times ago. I liked what you did in this part here on this version, but in all these other changes I hated. So now I want you to take this part from this version, paste it on here, these 2 parts, put it over here. Anyway, it turned into a horrible, horrible thing. and it was really sour. It was just really sour. The piece turned out great. It does look good, but it looked good originally too, you know. And I doubt I'll ever get to show it online because here we are 2 years later. Yeah, I was paid, yay, but like I don't really like spending 2 months of my life painting something for somebody else to have it never see the light of day.
True.
You know,
I've had that experience before, and it sucks when they want your design and then last minute they like not use it at all. And they go with something else. It's less simple and I don't know. And it sucks because, like you said, nobody ever saw the art. Nobody, nothing. And it sucks because it's fucked up. Either way, it's fucked up. To me, it was fucked up.
it was fucked up. I mean, one of the last things I remember him doing before we parted ways, he had sent me this thing, and I straight up told him, like, dude, I'm done with these revisions, man. Like, I can't do this anymore. I've delivered a perfectly awesome album cover like several times. The problem with being surreal is it's open to interpretation, right? It's like he can point out any number of things. It isn't like, hey, this cat doesn't look like a cat. Like, that kind of critique. This swirly over here isn't swirly enough for me. Like, okay, whatever, right? But he sent me a GIF of the scene in Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore of Patrick Swayze and doing the pottery thing, right? And behind, written over Patrick Swayze's head said client, and then on Demi Moore it said artist. And I was like,
yeah.
Like, oh, dude, that's for me, dude. I will never work with that guy again. Never, ever again. Oh, he'll know if he does. I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm in general immensely professional, and I would never talk too much shit. But this guy was a special breed. I'm happy to. It was terrible. But then like a couple months later, I worked with Unleash the Archers, one of the best games I've ever had. So it evened out in the Karmaverse or whatever. Like they were such an awesome band to work with. So super kind, super like just gentle the whole way. It was awesome. So you win some, you.
All right, we are down to 8 minutes. Any shout outs, any handles you want to throw out there? People to reach you for submissions or anything.
Well, I mean, mostly I am using my Instagram these days. So if you're here watching this and you're on their page, feel free to follow me on that. All of my new stuff I post on there. I'm really lazy about uploading onto my, URL, my domain or whatever. I need to get better at that. But yeah, I mean, anytime if you're a person just looking for artwork, I'm not your guy. If you're in a band and you want, a shirt or a series of shirts or an album cover or a banner or whatever, definitely hit me up. I'm not super fast. Full disclosure. So if you need it next week, don't do that. But if you need it in like a month or two, we can talk.
Yeah, I feel like you should never rush art. It's something that needs to be done.
It's always better when it flows naturally.
Yeah, especially when I was doing sculpting, someone really told me that you really have to take your time and just go with it and not rush it because you go fuck up. There's no way around it. You go fuck up if you rush it. Dude.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Don't rush. Don't fuck it up. He's a camera guy.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Hopefully.
He's right on top of me, so he has the camera right here.
Yeah. I'm the guy in charge of the POV. So he's in it. And I'm hey, how's it going? Yeah, okay. A little bit this way, so yeah, there you go. So, yeah. Okay, don't be afraid. Harder. Harder.
Oh, fuck. We're down to segment. I was going to say, if the person that gave you a hard time like that, if they ever see this, yeah, fuck them.
I agree, man.
If
I totally
you
agree.
see this and you gave this guy a hard time, this guy seems really fucking nice, and you were acting like that to a fucking artist, fuck you. That's
Because
it.
we've been there. We definitely have been there where we definitely been told and they try to fuck us, but yeah, we totally understand that.
Yeah, people usually don't like when you flip them around and use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. Is I am actually really nice. I treat every single person I work with like they're a bro or sis. You know, like I'm not sitting there like, I'm the best artist in the world. You will bow before me. You know, I mean, like I just like to just hang out with you know, a bunch of horror and metal dudes and work on projects with other creative people, and you know, to piss me off, it takes a real genuine individual to just a genuine piece of crap.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I know the feeling.
This I would definitely not want to piss him off.
Yeah. And the last guy who did, he had stretchers the same size as yours. I punched him in the side of the head. He ripped open and his teeth blew up. And he was out.
oh my goodness,
Out.
gone.
And I hit him when I left. And I ripped with my right hand and everything. Hit him with the left. He was done. It was great. Anything else?
Any questions for us?
Oh sure. What's your well, real quick? What's your favorite horror movie ever?
Comes from outer space.
Fuck, there's a lot.
For me, it's mine.
Hell yeah.
I have them tatted on me, so that's a must.
Hell yeah. Love that movie so much.
One of my top favorite horror movies.
My ass.
Oh, that's scary enough. I say Silence of the Lambs. I freaking love Hannibal Lecter.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Hannibal Lecter.
Have you watched the new show, Clarice?
What happened?
Have you watched Clarice yet? I haven't watched it yet. Is it any good?
Oh,
There's a
yeah,
TV show.
Yeah. I'm really excited for that. I'm really hyped. She looks like her. Like, it's really crazy.
It's not like her when she's younger.
Yeah, it does.
The case or
I don't know. Do you know?
It takes place after Silence of the Lambs, but before Hannibal.
oh, so it's like right. I love that fun. It's always the best place to eat. We hope you had fun.
Yeah, we do. We really do. I know we're really
Oh, I have
excited. Steady laughing.
Yeah.
You died and you died.
Again, yeah. If you ever want to have me on again, just let me know. That was a lot of fun.
That'll be awesome.
And again, disclaimer, guys, if you're under the age of 18,
If you're not watch, if you're a kid, don't watch us. This is not a child-friendly show. We talk about, you know, everything. This is how you make a fist.
I love how you give this a disclaimer at the end.
We did on the other episodes in the beginning, middle, and now at the end.
people should get the idea of how the show's going to be. Yeah, because of our things.
You hear the shit we say, you gotta know.
Yeah, the shit we post. Like, come on now. How can you not? That takes me back to the fucking hater that fucking talk shit. Oh, we got 2 minutes left. Yeah.
If you look at our posts, you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see that. That is bullshit. What the hell,
Saying we're
man?
anti-sex workers. And they are sex workers.
We're sex workers.
How did someone even arrive at that? How did someone even arrive at that? That's so weird. And then, well, I'm also perturbed about the fact that it sounds like she really stuck to her guns on that. Like, it's a bummer. Like, you figure you'd be like, no, we didn't say that. Like, seriously, we didn't say that. Oh, okay, I believe you guys. I'm really bummed out. She would, like, just take the word for it.
Fuck it.
All right, we got a minute, so thank you again, dude. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
We look forward to having you on again.
Yeah, if you know anybody or you want to be on again,
Anytime.
we're always on the account.
Cool.
Taking the messages, so let us know or anything, you know.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm down whenever.
All right.
All right.
Take care of yourself. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Don't be a dick.
Wipe her ass. All right, so be safe and
Be careful.
all right, but have a good night.
Have a good night,
And
guys.
like I said, be safe out there. Toodles!